Now, recently news has broken that former New York Governor Michael Bloomberg may run as an independent, but only if Senator Sanders wins the Democratic nomination. Now, this is interesting. Now, first, this actually came from a friend of his who told ABC News that the former New York City mayor plans whether or not to make a decision if he will mount an independent run for president the first week of March. Now, his decision, according to the confidant, will be based in large part on whether or not Bernie Sanders wins the Democratic nomination and Ted Cruz or Donald Trump win the Republican nomination. So, if two outsiders happen to win, which Bernie Sanders really isn't an outsider, he is an independent, caucuses with Democrats all the time. We all know this. And he's actually more liberal than most Democrats, right? He's more of what a Democrat's actually supposed to be than an actual corporate Democrat, which is what we have, unfortunately, as the majority of the Democratic Party. Anyway, so these two supposed outsiders, right, or three, I should say, it'll come down to two. If they win, then here will come Michael Bloomberg to save the day for the establishment, or to throw the election, which is what I'm sort of leaning towards. Now, here's the thing, right? He said, quote, well, the article says, if after Super Tuesday it looks like Bernie Sanders has a good chance of winning the Democratic primary, Bloomberg's odds of running are at least 50-50, according to this friend. If, on the other hand, Hillary Clinton wins the Democratic nomination, the odds that Bloomberg will run drop close to zero. So Hillary Clinton runs, never mind, I don't feel like running after all. But if Bernie Sanders wins the nomination, I'm totally jumping in. 50-50 at least. 50-50. Now, I'm not a tinfoil hat guy, right? But doesn't that seem a little suspicious? The timing of it all, and the conditions especially. Now, you could say maybe, well, if Bernie Sanders gets the nomination and Donald Trump on the other side, well, maybe he's got a shot to win. However, I really seriously doubt it. See, here's my thoughts on this, right? And I could be wrong. A lot of this is speculation. But I think what this is that Michael Bloomberg is threatening to be a spoiler. He's threatening to be a Ralph Nader, but only if Senator Sanders wins the Democratic nomination. Because I don't know if he really believes that he can win. I'm not really convinced that he could win, that he could mount a serious challenge. But see, the problem here is that he doesn't have to provide a serious challenge. He could get 4, maybe 5% of the vote, and that would be enough, just enough, to throw the election in favor of the Republicans instead of the Democrats. It would throw the election for the Democrats and allow a Republican to get voted in. That is the disaster scenario. Remember, we've already had it happen in 2000. And I think what this is a result of is that it's a challenge to progressives from the establishment. Basically, it's like this. Nominate Senator Sanders, and we'll try to throw the election to the Republicans. Now, I know you might be thinking, come on, dude, that's pretty far-fetched. Oh, maybe. And I could be wrong, but I kind of see it like this, right? Now, the establishment on both sides, the Republican and Democratic establishment, what do they love above anything else? What do they like to do? They like to cut taxes on corporations and the wealthy. They also like to deregulate certain industries. A Trump presidency would certainly help corporations and other rich people. It's not because Trump is part of the establishment or cares about the establishment, right? Trump cares about his own fortune. But since he is a billionaire, anything he does to benefit himself will also benefit other billionaires and corporations. He would more than likely rubber stamp legislation that would help his bottom line. And of course help other rich people like himself. Now, Ted Cruz is a bit different, right? Ted Cruz is a madman. He's a maniac. But ultimately, his tax plan, for example, would massively benefit rich people. Bernie Sanders, however, his policies would not help the rich. He would take the rich's apple cart and turn it over, flip it over, kick the apples down the road. The establishment, turns out they really like their apples. So they don't want to do that. So, in order to continue to enrich themselves, a Trump or Cruz presidency would actually be more beneficial to them. Now, we've seen before Republican presidents that don't really push as hard on the social issues. And I know that's what a lot of people are worried about. I'm worried about it too. I don't want to see social progress be, scaled back. I don't think Trump or Cruz would do that. Maybe Cruz would try because, once again, he's a crazy madman. But I think he'd really push for more of the deregulation and tax cuts for rich people and the elimination of welfare. Because that doesn't help corporations. That helps poor people. And generally the establishment isn't really in favor of helping poor people. So there's that whole thing, right? It wouldn't be so terrible on the social front, but it would be terrible on the economic front. But great for the corporations. That's why I think that it is possible that this could be an establishment ploy to at least threaten to throw the election to the Republicans if we nominate Bernie Sanders. That would be sort of the last stop. Think of the timing on this. He could have announced it any time. Now he announces 1 week before the Iowa caucus. Suspicious, yes. Very suspicious. Now, I could be wrong. As I said, this is a lot of speculation. But it's been kind of bugging me. It's been on my mind for a while. Ever since I heard that Bloomberg might be jumping in with these conditions. Now, I could be wrong about his motivations. Maybe he does think that he has a chance. Maybe he thinks he could win as an independent. And he could do what no one else has done in pretty much all of American history. Be an independent, winning in the White House. I don't know. But what I do know, regardless of his motivation, is that he's clearly aiming to take enough votes and to be enough of a spoiler to derail Senator Sanders. That might not be his motivation. That would probably be the end result.